Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. A very warm welcome to all of you for joining us today with this special webinar on education and entrepreneurship through agriculture. And we are delighted to have participants for different countries and regions here with us. And it is our great pleasure to extend a very special welcome to our distinguished speaker, Ms. Taylor Shoemaker, joining us all the way from Michigan. And I want to point one thing, despite this significant time difference, which is almost 11 hours, and it is very late evening there, she has graciously made the effort to be with us today. So I truly appreciate her dedication and generosity. Thank you, ma'am. And thank you all once again for being here with us. So let's begin our program. Now I would like to request the Director General of CIRDAP, Honorable His Excellency Dr. P. Chandra Shekara, to provide his welcome address in this webinar. Sir, over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Hurain. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you. Thank you, Taylor Shoemaker, for taking your valuable time. We know it is 11 o'clock, 11 p.m. at Michigan, at your place. Thank you for your valuable time on behalf of Center on Integrated Rural Development in Asia and Pacific, known as CIRDAP. It's an intergovernmental organization based at Dhaka, Bangladesh. It covers around 15 Asia and Pacific countries, in this region. On behalf of CIRDAP, I would like to extend a hearty welcome to you. Thank you for accepting our invitation and sparing our valuable time. So, just to introduce today's honorable speaker, actually, it was on 25th September, thanks to Michigan State University. Special thanks to Dr. Quinton Taylor, Dr. Karim Reddy, and Dr. Annie Baker, who arranged a visit to Taylor Shoemaker Farm. And we got a wonderful opportunity to visit Taylor Shoemaker Farm, and we had a very interesting discussion. That was the beginning. That day itself, I made up my mind that it is not only me learning, actually all our stakeholders in rural development in our region should know about this Taylor Shoemaker, very successful model. So a few things, just to introduce this farm and what I saw there, I will share with our audience as an introduction. So when we visited, we could see not only production part, but also, the post-harvesting, some of the activities like drying, grading, packing, storing, and also marketing, all at one place. And that is one thing I think, our entire farming community can take as a good practice from our Taylor Shoemaker Farm. Production, processing, storing, and marketing, all at one place. The second important observation, it's a diversified farm, not only growing fruits and vegetables, but also rearing pigs and goats, and even beekeeping. I could see some, horses and storage, facility available at one place, and good number of more sophisticated modern machineries in the farm. That means if one crop or enterprise fails, the other crop is there to ensure minimum profit or maximize profit to the farmer. This is my second observation about the farm. The third one is normally farmers are confined to their own business of producing and marketing. But the Taylor Shoemaker Farm also focused on education, educating school children. She is part of a very famous 4-H club movement in the US. Large number of school children visit her farm and learn, good practices from her. And she's also promoting, agritourism. That is, one thing which is very close to me. So we had a very interesting discussion there. a good number of people come there to see the story behind growing a berry crop and enterprise. So that is one of more details we will learn from the Tyler. And finally, I could see a dream farmer, a rich agriculture and a happy farmer, a very passionate, farmer, enjoying doing agriculture and also inspiring the neighborhood. So this is what, my experience. And next year, for information of all our stakeholders, United Nations has declared International Year of Women Farmers. Probably we have one role model farmer before us. Thank you, Taylor, for sparing your valuable time. Over to you.
Well, wonderful. Thank you both for that awesome and warm welcome. I'm so happy to be here. I am Taylor Schomaker, and you'll see me pictured here, but I do want to also note that my husband, Ryan, we both undertook the farm together, and then we have our son, Benny, there in the middle. It's definitely a family operation, so you'll see us sprinkled throughout. But I am tuning in from Saginaw, Michigan. In the States. So today what I did is I created a PowerPoint for us to be able to work through and keep me on track because I can get very excited about all the things. So we'll be able to use this to guide our conversation so that you hopefully feel like you're able to understand what we've got going on here. But then also you'll be able to see some of the things that I'm talking about. I think pictures help do it justice. So some of the things that I felt were very impactful for you to learn today was one, who's talking to you. So meeting the Schomakers, understanding where we started and why, and how it evolved into this model that the community is really enjoying. Through that, we'll talk about how we revitalized the 44-acre Centennial family farm to do so, and this education and agritourism model that we're talking about, we'll deep dive into that and learn how we made that come to fruition and how it's evolved from year one to now. And then the marketing strategies that were discussed, we'll talk about those and kind of our vision for the future and how they'll continue to evolve. And then I'll be very straightforward and candid with you and share some of the challenges and then also the vision that we have for the future with those as well. So the beginning, like I said, my husband and I, we both purchased the family farm, but this was very much our beginning even as a marriage. We bought the farm from Grandma Schomaker and we were married, and that first year we started building this house you see here. So imagine that when we bought this in 2018, which wasn't that long ago, this was just a blank slate. We had a farm field here, and then which we call the north field, and then this south field. That was 44 acres of land for us to do with what we wanted. At the time, it was a cash crop operation, and we didn't have any farming background. So we built the house, and at the time, I had my master's in clinical nutrition. So I was a dietitian at a renal facility working full time. And I was only in the initial stages. I had been 2 years into private practice on the side because I knew I wanted my mission to be education in the community around clinical nutrition. So how could people fuel their bodies and also help fight or minimize the complications related to whatever disease it might be, diabetes or renal disease. So how I was doing that in my practice, other than one-on-one coaching, I was also hosting events called Bring Your Own Jar. So people would come to these events with 5 empty mason jars, and then I would supply local ingredients from farmers and otherwise to teach them how to create meals that supported their best wellness and helped manage disease and all of those things. So this was happening weekly. So when we bought the farm and we were building the house, and Ryan was alongside me. He also works full time still to this day. He's an electrical lineman, but he said, we have this farm. Why don't we use it? You're buying these items from farmers every week to do these events. Just grow it here. So he put up our first greenhouse and we decided to grow the produce, and we had an abundance. We had extra starters. We had extra produce. So this little wagon you see here that Ryan, it's an old manure spreader, but he pulled it out of the woods, and we just put his farm stand out at the side of the road. And we didn't really have any goals initially for it. I just wanted to teach the community how to eat well. And he just loved it. He loved revitalizing the equipment he was finding in the woods, that manure spreader being one of it, and using a tractor that he had restored for his grandpa. So we were just having fun with it, and we were interacting with the people that were stopping at the wagon, and they really wanted to know where the food was coming from, and they wanted more of it. We were selling out. So we actually, the first year, farmed 3 acres, just what you see here on this side of the house and here. And it was a fantastic first year. We loved it. We loved interacting with the community. I loved the ability to not only teach people how to use the food, but also how it was grown and harvested, and that it was grown right there in what we call Thomas Township. We often refer to the farm as being in the heart of Thomas Township, because it definitely is in, we're referred to as city farming, because right across the road there's, big box stores, and we're on a pretty busy road. We're a dead end, but we're right off of a very busy road. So, very neat how it started, and it just flourished. After that first year, we told the cash crop farmer not to come back, and we took on the rest of the 30 acres, which you'll learn very quickly what we did with. So as with anything, our journey has evolved over the years from that first year. It's been a very quick 5 years, it feels like, but we have learned so much. The greenhouse here you see, we now are up to 3 greenhouses, which during the growing seasons, we have a tomato house, we have a cucumber house that are all in production, and then we also have a plant sales starter house. The tomato and the cucumber house, those harvest goods to sell within the community at a farmer's market or in our roadside stand. But the plant sale is an interesting one. It actually kickstarts our selling season in May, and that is our first step into the season of education. So we start all of our plants from seed that we put in our fields, but we grow extra of the same seeds that we're growing here, and we offer that as a starter sale for the community. So community members can come in and they can shop and choose plants for their garden. But one of the things that makes us very unique in this capacity is that we are able to provide advice or guidance on different things that they could grow, or different varieties, or maybe they want to try something new like an herb or what have you. So we can provide them guidance on how to grow that plant, that produce item, and help it come to fruition at that plant sale, but then also throughout the season. We encourage people to retract so that they're buying a starter home, but really seeing us. So that kickstarts our season. There's a little bit of reverberation here. Okay. Hopefully everyone can hear me. I'm just going to talk to you more. Okay. So in addition to the 3 greenhouses, we also have the acreage out in the field. So we grow 20 plus acres of hand harvested vegetables. So things from tomatoes, both in the greenhouse and outside of it. We grow 8 acres of pumpkins. We have asparagus, strawberries, raspberries, onions, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, the whole 9 yards. We can grow a lot of variety in Michigan, and we pack a ton of it into our acreage that we have that is tillable. We also have 8 acres that we rotationally graze our animals to teach sustainable practices to some of the adults and youth that interact with our animals. So as you can see, we've got quite the zoo here. We've got 5 cows, 11 sheep, 200 chickens, 11 pigs, and 2 turkeys, all of which we breed here to be able to give the full life cycle experience in some of our programs. Other than the farmers market that we actually founded here in Thomas Township in 22, we also sell out of our self-serve farm stand. So we have evolved from a little white shed that has been there in previous years to this year having a nice storefront that is basically just a big white barn right at the road that took over that wagon area, and that operates as a self-serve stand. So we spend the majority of our time in the fields harvesting or teaching classes, and the farm stand is a place where people can just come. They shop and pay in the stand, or they might enjoy the playground or walking around to seeing the animals. We're really trying to create a community space here. So we'll talk more about what that might look like in some of those experiences. Some of the experience that I'm mentioning are the Pasture Pals. This is an experience where kids can either be dropped off by a parent or maybe the school bus, and there's guided experiences where they can be essentially a mini farmer for the day. So if it's a harvest day, they might be out there picking popcorn, for example, and then seeing how you take that popcorn and husk it and maybe put it through one of our machines to process it, and they can see that and take it home with them. Or some more fun things, like one time the pigs got out one of the evenings they were there. So the kids just loved helping us wrangle the pigs to get them back into their enclosure. So you never know what you're going to get, but the kids absolutely love it. This middle photo here, we use our greenhouse space not only during the growing season, but also in the off season. This is where we will do lambing or different classes like needle felting, where we take the wool that has been harvested on our farm and we teach people what you do with it. So they learn about all the different things you can do with wool, how to process it, and then they can even make a little creature. We've done dryer balls as like a beginner class, and then we've done these cute little piggies as well, and we've also done a little sheep animal as well. The Cuddle a Cow is the other off-season experience that we do to help the community get engaged with some of the younger animals on our farm. It started with cows, and the community really loved that. And then we evolved it to also include some of the other babies, like the baby pigs and the lambs as they're born. And if there's any bottle-fed babies in that given year, we also include them in that as well. And since we are in more of an urban environment, closer to the city, but right on the border of the rural environments, we're getting a lot of people that these are their first experiences. The kids may have not been on a farm before or been exposed to some of the things that they're able to find here. And same with the adults, right? Somebody might not know the full life cycle of an ewe, for example. At one point in time, during one of the tours, somebody had said to me, gosh, you really need to take their wool. Doesn't that hurt them? Isn't that bad for them? And as a farmer, right, and tending to these animals, I know it's just a haircut, but it's really essentially, it's really eye-opening to hear some of the feedback and realize you're really connecting the dots for people, and they're understanding, how agriculture works and how we're getting some of the end products. And one of my favorite things that we started this year is we modified some of our UPIC experiences for this experience called the Bushel Basket Club. So over the years, we've always offer you pick scenarios, usually with a farm tour, and then they can pick whatever it might be. Maybe they pick bushels of tomatoes, maybe they pick pickles, whatever it is that they're wanting to preserve that's in season at that time. But this year we tweaked it where it includes the farm tour, so they get a full tour of the produce that's in season at that visit, and they get a half bushel basket with a bag in it, and they're able to walk around the farm and fill that half bushel basket with anything that they would like for only $20. Now, that is a steal of a deal. You can see this wonderful family here filled their half bushel and then put the watermelon on top, and that's what they took home for the week. So we have people that will come and, do the U-pick for maybe all their tomatoes that they want to preserve for the winter, but then this modified experience also allows it to be a weekly thing. If somebody wants to come and just get their produce for the week, they can fill up maybe with things that they already know they love, or things that they may have never seen before. And maybe they ask the farmer, hey, I want to pick this, for example, cucamelons. A lot of people had never heard of cucamelons or tomatillos, and maybe they want to pick those things, and we're able to give them the education on how to harvest it and maybe a few ideas on what would pair well with it or how to cook it. So not only are we connecting the dots with animals and how those come to fruition and might come to the end product, but also with all of the different varieties of produce we're growing. So with education at our forefront, we're always looking for ways to engage not only adults, but also the youth of our community. And a few years ago, we founded the Red Barn Crew 4-H Club here on the farm, which is standard with all the 4-H clubs across the United States. The kids are hosting the meetings and they're running their club. But what has set us apart actually is our Red Barn Crew sponsorship program. And this is truly something that is helping kids that would otherwise not be able to have the 4-H experience of raising an animal have these experiences. So this sponsorship program offers youth in the community that cannot raise an animal at their own home, whether it be to financial constraints or maybe access to land or maybe township regulations, since again, we are very close to Saginaw City. For whatever reason, if these kids can't participate in 4-H or raise animals at their home, we are offering them a free program to get paired with an animal on our farm, raise it from birth until the execution at fair, whether they're showing it and it's returning to our breeding program or whether they're showing it to auction it, they're able to truly see the lifespan of that animal. And all that we ask is for a commitment of 4 hours per week on the farm. So that could be, time spent just mingling with their animal. That could be helping with manure. It could be helping with pasture rotation, or maybe there's a field trip or a class that the youth really wants to be part of. And that would count for their hours as well. So at the end, after they show their project at the fair, that culminates their allocation for the year. And then the next year they return. The first year we started with 4 youth, here you see, and then the next year we expanded the program to a few more. We had 6 just this past year, and we are welcoming a few more in this next year ahead. So we are very excited to see this program grow, and even more excited to see how thrilled the kids are to return year after year and how much they're learning. Maggie here on the left, she shared with us this year that she hopes that she can be a farmer one day. And I truly have to say that just really makes us feel like this is all worthwhile, because we're truly having lasting impact on these kids for the rest of their lives. They're going to remember these memories that they're making and the connections. So in addition to the experiences that we're providing here that are educational, but agritourism altogether, right? We're also looking for ways to expand. We're bridging the gap between some of those urban environments and agriculture. So we're doing that by joining different local ag organizations and being an advocate for these. So through Farm Bureau, I actually am the promotion and education chair. So I had the privilege of pulling together and hosting a Project Red event this year. And what that stands for is a Rural Education Day. So I rounded up 8 fellow farmers from Saginaw County, and we set up educational activities, and we welcomed over 450 fourth graders to this event. The fourth grade classrooms rotated through and learned from each farmer about our different commodities, and then the teachers were able to take home goodie bags that had ag activities and different features from each farm that was there. So this was a huge way to impact the youth of the community in a really wonderful way that showcased not only our farm, but other farms as well, because I truly believe that we grow better together. We do farm tours not only on our farm, but also off of the farm. So like I had mentioned during the UPIC activities, we are always taking people or classrooms or organizations around our farm, and we welcome them with open arms. But we also think that there is value to visiting other farms. So some of the other farms in the area that we aspire to learn from, like local greenhouses or other farms that have matching livestock commodities, we may reach out to them and ask, hey, we'd love to see your operation. Would you be open to a tour? And then we take that opportunity to be able to showcase them on our YouTube channel and or Facebook if we're making some reels. And that helps us learn, but it's also helping the community learn about all of the agriculture related organizations in our area. So we're really paying it forward in that regard and just helping everyone learn in all facets. The UPIC activities, we have opened this up to, yes, the public as a whole, but also different organizations that want to come out and do UPIC or different corporate events if they want to do it as a fundraiser. I mentioned Michigan Farm Bureau, but another organization that I'm a part of in trying to do my due diligence with is the Saginaw Conservation District. So through this, I'm learning about more sustainable practices that are available to help and programs that are available to help us, but also how others are doing it. And through these, I'm able to enhance our education as farmers, but also the education I can provide to others. So marketing is a huge piece, right? When you're doing something unique as we are with the farm, it's very important that you're able to showcase why it matters and truly why people should care. So we use a variety of different things to showcase that. We are very active on channels like Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, and we try to use all of those to help get the word out on these experiences that individuals can have. When there's very cool things that go out, we often will be reached out to. We've been on the radio for the Cuddle a Cow experience or local news spotlights for some of the educational inputs. But one of the things that really helps expand is word of mouth. So these kids or the adults that are coming, they are having amazing and unique experiences that are opening their eyes to the world of agriculture. They're making treats for pigs and feeding them, directly, or harvesting things that they're going to learn how to preserve and then make a family routine out of it, maybe annually or weekly. So that very positive and excited word of mouth spread the word better than any of the other things, because for every good experience, they're gonna, take that home and internalize it and share it with other people that they want to be able to benefit from this hidden gem on Letty Road, right? We also expanded this year because the meat and potatoes of what we're doing is the produce. We also expanded to wholesale restaurants and different food hubs, which helps our produce support the local economy as well, in a variety of ways. Food hubs in our area have a lot to do with putting food in different schools in Saginaw County and other counties that are surrounding our areas. But then they also are supporting programs like Meals on Wheels that feed seniors, and definitely different other organizations as well. The farmers market that we founded, that was a way, just like our YouTube channel, how we're trying to pull in other farmers to share what they have going on. We're also trying to create that community connection through the farmers market. So the market that we founded in 2022 has evolved to now include weekly nearly 40 vendors and an average patron count of about 1,000 to 2,000 patrons a week. So we are very, very proud of that farmers market, and it truly went back to how can we reach more people? How can we have a better impact within our community and get more people to understand everything that is available here locally? Yes, on our farm, it's a marketing thing for our farm at our booth, but we really wanted to think big picture in drawing all the local vendors, makers, bakers, growers into that environment so that we could create that connection. And with everything, even the presentation that I'm giving here today, we have found that the best marketing strategy is a truly authentic and storytelling approach. So people want to know. They want to know what you're doing and why you're doing it, and they want to see the process, whether it's good things, whether it's a bad day when the pigs got out, like the example I gave earlier. They just want to see real life experiences. So we are trying very hard to give that to the world, and it has been giving back to us in leaps and bounds as well. So some of those channels, which I definitely encourage you to follow if you want to see how the farm continues to evolve in this educational and agritourism model. Our Facebook page has a very high following there, and then also our YouTube channel, where you can see we feature other local farms in Michigan that we have learned from, but that we also want the community to be able to learn from and enjoy. But then we also put things that are happening on our farm. So like this one, Big Mama is in labor. It's one of the most popular videos on our YouTube. And this was one where it was the first ewe to deliver on the farm. So you got all the excitement and the delivery, and it was a really neat experience. So we are sharing more and more on that every day. And that's just one other way that we're able to spread this educational model beyond the 40 acres here on Letty Road. So, and with farming, as I'm sure we're all aware, it comes with its challenges. The seasonal nature of farming, I'll be very transparent, is one of the biggest challenges, because that means that our main income is coming in between May with our plant starter sale and pretty much ends the end of October with our pumpkin season. That's the growing season in Michigan. So that means those other months, even though we still have labor costs with, tending to animals and purchasing seed and revving up for a new season, buying soil and trays and all of the things that keep the farm going, there's no income in those off seasons. So that's been a very big challenge. So much like during the introduction, as you heard, we're trying to be very smart about how we set ourselves up for success, so that not only are we farming sustainably, but that the farm can sustain itself for years and years beyond, hopefully for our kids. So this is one of the reasons that why during the season we grow so many different commodities, both produce and livestock, but also during the off season, we're trying to find ways to honor all of our larger missions at play. So the educational facets, for example, we're trying to find ways to make sure that we can highlight those at their peak during the off seasons, which will help offset some of those months where we don't have the produce income. So we'll talk a little bit more about that here in a minute. But the unpredictable weather patterns is another challenge. So even if you are in growing season, you never know what the Michigan weather is going to bring. And we tend to have very wet springs and very wet falls. And a couple years into it, we realized, you know what? We can't fight it anymore. You see this picture here on the left of my leeks and the shovel. This shovel is standing straight up. That's how much water we had on this area of the field, which, as I'm sure you know, in the world of agriculture, water is very damaging, right? You don't want it sitting on your crops. It can create different bacterial growth and harmful things for all of your produce. In this particular picture, thank God the leeks are a little bit hardy, but right next to them, the cabbage staying this wet, and even once this was able to drain off, since we dug trenches to get the water off, it can create rot within the vegetable. So even if you're not seeing it on the outside, the water can still damage the produce item. So it's very hard when you're constantly battling this. So after a couple of years of it and visiting other produce farms in the area to see what they're doing, we actually purchased a raised bed mulch layer, which is something that goes behind this tractor here and puts the center of our rows. This is plastic mulch that we plant in. It puts the center of this row 5 to 6 inches above the lowest part of the trench between. So what that did is no longer do we need to have these scary falls or scary times when we have heavy rainfalls. The middle of our rows stay nice and high and dry, and the water pools here until it's able to drain. So no longer are we hand digging or machine digging trenches to mitigate the water damage. We're just trying to get smarter every year. So definitely the weather patterns, it's always a different season. You never know what you're going to get, but every year we try to say, okay, what was our biggest challenge this year, and how can we better set ourselves up for success in the future years? Market pressure in our area, and I'm sure everywhere, is very hard for us in a produce growing situation. So the educational component in creating awareness for why people should buy locally is a huge piece of the puzzle. It's a challenge, but it's one that we're taking head on and trying to create that awareness within the community through our educational programs. And then lastly, I think this goes without saying, farming in nature, even, this itself, right? It's 24/7. The farm never shuts down. So challenge that we have now and I foresee will probably be a lifelong challenge, just because of the nature of our personalities, is the healthy work-life balance. How do you turn your mind off, and how do you say, okay, I'm not going to work in this minute, when you're so fueled by wanting to do a good job and in a scenario where things just don't turn off, right? The pigs always need to be fed, or the cows always need to be watered. You never know what's going to happen around the farm. So ultimately, our vision for Schomaker Farms is to inspire the next generation. So I mentioned that we're trying to bridge the gap between just having our in-season crop times, but also to expand our educational initiatives into the colder months. So hopefully that can be done by increasing our field trip capacity during the school season. So for us, the school season is around August, September until June-ish. And for the schools, that is typically our off season, right? Because we start in May and we end in October. So we have been doing field trips during the tail ends or the beginning of our seasons. But one of the areas that we really want to highlight over the next few years to make sure this is a sustainable mission is increasing our winter field trip capacity, so that they can learn about all the things that go on with agriculture, even in the off seasons. and it will help the kids and adults also realize why the money is well spent on buying locally, even if it costs a little bit more, because they're understanding the amount of time and effort that goes into planting a seed and watching it come to fruition, right? Where did the zucchini that they see on the grocery store shelves start, and how long has someone had to tend to it to make sure that it's able to be there? One of the really new pipeline things that we've just recently been able to capitalize on and will be coming out in the next year or two is to create a mobile food experience. So my clinical nutrition background, which started the farm, will in the next few years make its wonderful return, and we're going to be able to put the two pieces together. So not only will we be able to show people where it is grown, but we'll be able to teach, whether it be at a business or a school, how somebody can take that produce item and cook with it or use it at home for a snack or otherwise. So that's a very neat experience where we're taking the agritourism, the educational model, and we're going to try to put it into play off-site. We also are going to expand the other offerings, such as our lambing experiences and needle felting, into the off season as well in some of those greenhouse environments, so that they can enjoy just being on the farm, the simplicity, the tranquility that comes with that, and learn about ag-related classes during that time. And then, as always, we always feel that there's room for improvement, but we hope to improve our marketing so that we're able to reach individuals that may not be able to come to the farm for whatever reason, or maybe they can't purchase into one of the classes, but they still want to learn about it. So we hope to improve our marketing so that we're able to reach all channels, whether it be for free on our YouTube or quick reels, so that we can spread our word that way and provide educational experiences in those routes as well. So I hope that you were able to see kind of the gamut of all of the things that we have to offer. And I think one of the most exciting things for me is to be able to hear from you, maybe how you may have learned something from this presentation today. I pray that you did, or maybe an idea that you'd like to run with. I would just love some dialogue. I know we've got quite a few people here, but I would love to hear from you any questions that I can answer or input that you might have.
Yeah, it's a wonderful presentation. Of course, I visited the place. I had discussion with you, and this presentation gave me additional information. But now we can hear from the participants. If finally I can also, intervene.
Now we will start the last 15 or roughly 20 minutes interactive session. So I can see there's almost 131 people here. So please ask or any comment or if you want, you can drop your questions or comment in the chat box. We can read. Yes, yeah, Mehrul Islam from CARE Bangladesh is our MOU partner. Yes, please.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning from Dhaka, and it's so exciting, Taylor, to listen to you. I went back to my livelihood, and I grew in a very small little town in the northwest of Bangladesh. So you just touch my heart, in terms of agriculture. So thank you so much. One of the questions that I just wanted to ask is that even in Bangladesh, agriculture is a predominant sort of occupation in Bangladesh, and there are a lot of opportunities as well. But one of the things that the country's struggle is that none of the sort of educated urban are interested in agriculture. And one of the things that they feel that this is a low status sort of job. So it is extremely challenging to bring them on board, but bringing youth, as you rightly pointed out, is so critical. So I just wanted to hear from your experience that if you have any kind of suggestions for us to kind of invite and excite youth in agriculture in Bangladesh. Thank you.
I think that's a fantastic question. And actually, it is it's something that we struggle with in some regards. So like I had mentioned in the presentation, a lot of the kids and even some of the adults, the exposure that they're getting here, oftentimes it's their first exposure with agriculture. Sometimes they don't even know how a tomato is grown or how, it ends up in the store. So one of the things that can help and has helped in some of the field trips where you're going to take on a bunch of kids and you want all of these kids to leave with something exciting, right? You want them to go home and say, hey, I visited a farm today and I loved it. So one of the things that we do is we have different tiered experiences. So in one of the pictures, you may have noticed the kids were painting pumpkins. They were doing that within a greenhouse, and it was a very clean experience. And clean meaning there was no manure, there was no weeds, there was no mud, there was none of the typical things that you see on a farm. It was a very manicured greenhouse and a very structured activity. But during that activity, they learned about how a pumpkin is grown and seeing it come to fruition, because there was a bunch of pumpkins outside and they were able to take one home with them. And then they crafted that wooden pumpkin. So having experiences like that, which is more cookie cutter, something they might see where they don't have to get dirty, they're just exposed, that's a super good way to get them excited to return. Or things like going to the farm and we have a nice playground out with a sandbox and a bounce house. So just getting them to the farm is the first point, right? And doing some of those activities that don't really sound farm related, right? They're really structured, but they're at the farm. So as they continue to come back and some of the other things that they're noticing going on, they end up opening and they want to see more of it. So kids that are bouncing on the bounce house, for example, or playing on the playground, and they see us tending to the animals or out picking cucamelons, something that they may have never seen before, they start asking questions and then they start wondering, and over time they open up a little bit more. So I think just having the exposure, whether it's something small like painting a wooden pumpkin, or just playing on the playground around agriculture related experiences, it can really make a huge difference. Or at least that's what we've noticed. Does that help answer it, I hope?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Taylor. Thank you very much. Very inspiring.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Merul. Now, Professor Moni, sir, you raised your.
Yeah, sir.
Yes.
Thank you.
Welcome, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible.
Thank you very much, Madam Taylor Schomaker, for your wonderful presentation. And your objective is very much appreciated, connecting people and agriculture. And today you have given a model farm, operational model farm. And we are also involved in India in various tribal areas, in a cluster of 10 to 15 tribal villages. We are trying to bring in smart tribal farming project. So today's presentation, thanks to CIRDAP, I'm able to have more learnings from the global north, how to take to global south. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. We have one question from Dakin AMR, a professor from Myanmar. Is your farm is organic?
So we definitely try to stay as natural as possible, but we are not an organic farm. In our area, if we have a disease or something that we don't know how to treat it, MSU Extension, which you heard about during the intro, they are our resource for what we should be using to treat that. So we're not organically certified.
Yeah,
and then I do see the other comment too right below it. Is this the tomato that's genetically modified? I don't remember which particular variety this one was. We do have some that are non-GMO, like our beefsteaks, but then we do plant 4 different varieties in our field alone, and then 2 different ones within the greenhouse. And some of these are genetically modified through RUP Seed. That's the seed organization that we do our orders from. So we do a little bit of both.
Thank you, sir. Yes, Dr. Arjun Kumar Verma. Yes, you may ask the question.
Good morning. I am Dr. Arjun Kumar Verma from India. First of all, thank you very much for your very nice presentation. As you know, India lives in villages. My question is how to motivate youth to adopt agriculture in their occupation. Thank you.
And that's the trick of the trade, I'm afraid. I'm praying that I'm raising some inspired boys here, but that's just the tricky part. Farming is hard, right? It's outside. Oftentimes the weather does not cooperate, right? It's hot or rainy, whatever it might be. It's a hard job, and you really got to love it. So I think that just creating experiences that create excitement around it and show the diversity, right? Like I'm boots on the ground on the farm, right? But there's a lot of different things that you can do in the agriculture sector that aren't necessarily what I'm doing, hand harvesting, right? They could be doing drones. We had our cover crop laid this fall. That's our most recent YouTube video. It's pretty cool. But we had a huge drone come out and lay cover crop on our field. So that's a job right there, right? So I think just encouraging them to explore the world of agriculture and all of the things that it could look like, which it's not always boots on the ground, hand harvesting bushels of tomatoes, right? There's a lot of different ways it can go.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay. Think that, so no more questions. We do have comment in the chat box. Thank you for interesting presentation. Thank you so much for your resourceful presentation from Isaac Main from Kenya. So any more questions or comment? We still have time, around 10 minutes.
There is one question like, thank you for your presentation. I have one question, whether your farm is organic or not.
It's already answered, sir. There's 2 other questions in the chat box, like thank you for your great sharing. One question, please. With small ownership, what kinds of crop do you grow? Your work is on commercial basis or just education? It's from...
Yeah, this is a really great question. All of these have been really good questions, so thank you for that. But we grow, I think on paper, it's like 40 different varieties of crops. So everything from sweet corn to tomatoes, pumpkins, all assorted winter squash, butternut, acorn, blue Hubbard. We grow celery, Brussels sprouts, peppers, all sorts, bell peppers, ghost peppers, reapers, the whole 9 yards. So we have a ton of variety on our farm. And a lot of farms don't necessarily do that, right? You might have an overarching thing that you're focusing on, like tomatoes, and then you throw in a few other ones, or just the basics, some people might say. But we find that with our model, having the variety is allowing us to educate on more, right? Somebody can come and they can fill their half bushel basket with all the produce ingredients that they would need to make a recipe, for example. So they have a lot of things that they can learn how to plant, how to harvest right there on site. So for us, it definitely creates a lot of learning because we have to be able to master all of those crops and evolve every year and choose the seed that's going to thrive within our ground. So that can be tricky. The second part of your question where you ask about do we work on a commercial basis? We very much are a small farm. This was our first year selling commercially, the first year that we were even able to. Typically, we sell all of the produce that we grow. And this year, we did have an extra abundance because every year you get a little smarter, right? We are a little bit better on weeding. We didn't have as much disease because of the raised plastic. So this was the first year we were able to do that. And hopefully we can continue to. And then intertwine the education. But our main focus is how can we get the community involved with agriculture, whether that be buying from the stand, doing the U-Pick, or even just the events. We just really want to have a positive impact.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. So there is another question from Nepal. Thanks, and it was nice presentation. His question is, how can a small farmer adopt such farming in country like Nepal? Okay.
Yeah, so this is a good question and one I'm not quite sure how to answer because I don't know the climate or growing conditions in Nepal. But I would say, just from our experiences, you just start by doing, right? So whether it's yourself or you're inspiring someone, it only takes a couple seed and some inspiration. So whether you start by container growing until you're able to compost the soil or what have you, do a lot with a little bit of land or a little bit of soil. So I would say just get started, and life is going to take you where you should be. It did for us. So that's as simple as I can put it.
Next is not the question, but it's a comment. It is a very interesting presentation. Thank you, Taylor. Perhaps in coming days, we can have presentations of success stories by farmers from various countries where CIRDAP works. Okay, I can suggest a few names from India. Okay, next question is from our another MOU partner, ANSA, Pushpa Ghimer. Sir, what is the percentage of revenue streams, food products and services, agritourism, or education business? How difficult is for you for recycling the plastics?
Yeah, this is a very good question. So the meat and potatoes of what we're doing here is by far the produce. The produce is what keeps the farm going. So I would say, if I had to break it down, probably 80%, 85% of our revenue is coming from the produce or goods sold from the farm. If we have extra, we do freeze dry things. So we make different spices and herb blends. So we try to use pretty much everything that we're growing. So that is our biggest commodity that we're selling. Now, the events, the agritourism, the education, that fills in the remainder. With it being the forefront of our mission, it would be very nice if they could pair each other, right? 50 and 50. But for us, the meat and potatoes is still going to be the produce. And I think with the way that we're set up, it would have to remain that way unless we're able to get a bigger staff under us. With some of the expansion and the mobile method that I'm talking about, that might be in the works for us in the future. But for now, we can only do what we can keep up with, and we have a very small team behind us, our family, and then we have a full-timer this year. So with that limit, produce will probably remain the bulk of our revenue, because that's what we can keep up with. And then the plastic is, so the biodegradable mulch that I referred to, the white plastic or the black that you see in the rows, that is tilled right in. It breaks down, it's biodegradable, it goes right in. A thorn in our side in the fall is the drip tape. The irrigation that runs underneath that is not biodegradable. So by hand, we have to take all of that out and recycle that. We do offer it to other organizations locally if they want to. We can't use it because it has to go back on a spool to go on the machine to reuse it the next year, but it's still good drip tape. So if somebody wants to pick some up for their garden for free, or a local organization wants to use it in their setup, then we donate free of charge. But other than that, we just recycle it.
Next question is from Iran. Fahime, the big problem in developed countries is seed. How could they access the world commercial and suitable seeds?
Yeah, for sure. So some of the GMO seeds, especially if you're growing in areas where things don't often come to fruition as good as we would have liked. That's where GMO seed can come in handy, and that's why it's even there, right? So, and that's why it's studied. So I don't know the answer to how they could access it, but I think that it's a question that we should continue to ask. I will say that looking up on the internet some of the different strains from places like RUP or Seedway, those are the companies that we use that are large scale in our areas. So whether they sell to other countries, I'm not sure, but I think that's a question worth asking several more times for sure.
Okay, so last question in the chat box before moving to our program officer research. In your local market, what do you believe is your farm's unique competitive advantage beyond just fresh produce, and how do you ensure your brand communication?
I love it. It's the storytelling. It's the authenticity. That is truly what's setting us apart. There is 6 other or 8 other produce vendors at that farmer's market. So you really have to find a way to do exactly what you're saying. Why should somebody buy your tomatoes versus someone's that's, a couple of vendors down? And for us, it's our farm. It's our storytelling. They can see what we're growing. They can see how we're harvesting it. They can see our family growing, right? We're growing veggies and little ones. So they've seen it all. They've seen the farm go from nothing to this local hotspot and the farmers market to pair. So for us, that's what makes us unique, our desire and ability to give back to the community very selflessly.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, our program officer research, Dr. Babu Kaji Thapa. Sir, you wanted to ask some question?
Yes.
Yes.
Not a question.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you so much. It is actually heart touching, your story and your working, on agriculture. My question is like that. You have, livestock also, vegetable, and maybe you need, technical support in crop also and livestock. Whether you are receiving a good support from government or you are taking private technical support privately, and that is my question actually.
Meaning finances, how are we funding it?
No, it is technical advice.
Technical advice like a seed, how to grow, how to, control the pest, insect pest, that kind of technical support from where you are, getting.
Yeah. So when it comes to seed, right, the very meat and potatoes of what we're doing, my husband is the brains behind that. He spends a long time going through the catalogs, visiting with the different, each region has its own person that you're paired with. I forget our gentleman's name, but so he makes the phone calls to the different companies to determine what he's going to buy, why he's going to buy it. So he's the brainchild behind that, right? So he does all of that. But in regards to processes and pesticide or herbicide, whatever we're using, if we need to use it, we rely on institutions like MSU Extension to give us the current best practice, and same with like soil testing and treatments in that regard. The Conservation District will do really nice reports that you're able to read. But I will say that no matter what we're doing, we're asking tons of people, tons of reputable people. So those that are selling the seed, yes, but different organizations like MSU or local farmers that are doing the same thing. So when we were having trouble with some of the different elements of our greenhouse growing in the beginning, starting things from seed, that's one of the reasons why we toured a local greenhouse, Faber's, and we asked him about some of our challenges that we're doing. I was reading one of the comments, some of the challenges we were having, and he helped us understand what we might need to shift to do better. So we definitely reach out to the organizations, but also those that have been through the thick of it, the local farmers. So we're learning, and that's why we try to post those different things on our YouTube channel so that hopefully we can help those that are following in our footsteps as well.
Another question is from Jinath, Care Bangladesh. Do you have any partnership with any private sector actors? Any private sector institution or organization? Do you have any partnership?
So we don't have any partnerships for anything right now. We have done collaborations, I'll call them, where we've worked alongside, but different institutions like MSU Extension, right, hosting kids classes alongside of them. But beyond that, everything has been us just trying to make a difference. So it would be wonderful if in the future partnerships were an option or something that fit within our mission, but we don't have any to the minute. And it would be wonderful if they sponsored activities, but no, we even the farm itself has been difficult, right? Because to get started in agriculture, you have to have land, you have to have equipment, right? And we started with nothing. So just buying the farm was a huge undertaking. In that first year, we literally farmed with a tractor that Ryan had restored for his grandpa. It had no hydraulics, it didn't have anything. So to be able to buy our first tractor year 2, we were through the moon. So everything has been self-funded, and we have had to work alongside of this. And it's been hard. So I think that is a barrier of a lot of people getting started is the funding. And then to continue, it would be nice to have sponsorship, but we just don't. Yeah, the amount that we invest right now is all in all. This was the first year that I was able to take a step back from my full-time role as a dietitian and be more full-time on the farm and part-time my old job, but Ryan is very much still full-time, and we're pouring pretty much everything that the farm makes back into the farm to improve our processes, because our ultimate goal is that hopefully one day we're able to make this our full-time job, because we have high dreams, right, and aspirations. So right now we're investing in the future.
Okay, thank you. Now I'm requesting our Honorable Director General of CIRDAP, Dr. P. Chandra Shekara, to provide his closing and final remarks for this webinar. Sir.
Thank you, Taylor Shoemaker, again, for not only a very informative but also interesting, and it is also inspiring. The entire presentation went like a story. I think, converting a farm business into a storytelling, that is what one of the secret of success, what I understand. That is what, maybe probably has to be added in our part of, agriculture. When the people ask why young people are not coming, because they don't know how to tell a story out of agriculture. Maybe one question was there. Probably you gave the answer. So a few things, of course, I made mention of some of the good things which I have observed in your farm. But other than that, in addition to that, I would like to, compliment Ryan Shoemaker and your son. They're being part of, the great support and, the success story. They're not visible, but our compliments to them. And one of the important, the observation is community participation in marketing. People coming there, and you have designed that bushel basket club where people can come, pay $20 and, pick whatever they want. That kind of freedom and the choice for a very limited amount also gives an experience in, buying or marketing. So this is one important observation. And off-season, normally farmers feel, underemployed. So they think that, we have plenty of land, but there is no crop, they have no income. But you have created an off-season, income generating opportunities. That is another learning which can go to us. Then another interesting aspect is Red Brown Crew Forest Club. So it was very interesting. Probably this is one way we can encourage, sensitize, urban kids in agriculture. So at least, if not reverse migration, at least migration can be prevented. Then rural education day is another interesting, aspect which I could see here. Not only you, but you also mobilized the local farmers for creating, sensitization on rural life. Every farmer life is a, message and a story for urban people. But you made use of that very effectively. Use of social media, amazing. I hope the day we control social media, probably half of the marketing problem is over. And you did it actually. Authentic storytelling, yeah, customizing every activity, storytelling, that definitely create a lot of interest among the people. And most important thing, at the end of my observation, how to maintain a work-life balance. Now, because crop grows all 24 hours. That is there in the back of, our farmers. And they have to give 24 hours to any animal or for a crop. At the same time, they have to have time for themselves and to their family members. How they are going to balance it is a very big question, and you give the answer through your own experience. Thank you very much. And this entire, presentation discussion will be part of our webinar series going to occupy in our YouTube channel. If somebody missed this presentation, they can revisit and enjoy this discussion. Thank you, Taylor. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, ma'am, and thank you everyone for joining with us.